Hi guys, so following on from the unboxing video, I've gone and got myself a few tools, the tools that I think I'll need to do the job. I have downloaded the app onto my phone. I've already got the learning thermostat on there, but I'm going to add the Nest Protect to the system. So the system uses the same app for all of the devices. It doesn't matter which Nest app you use. And the instructions basically say to set up the Nest Protect with the app before you actually do the physical install. So if we open up the app, top right hand corner there's a cog sign, and scroll down and go to add products. There's a QR code on the back of the Nest Protect. So I have already pulled the battery strip out. You will have seen that on the previous video. Scan the two. It's identified the QR code. It says, will you require your Wi-Fi password, a ladder and a screwdriver. So we'll click next. It's asked where in the house is this going to be. I'm actually going to install this in the kitchen, so we'll select kitchen from the popular list, click next. It's now searching for this particular Nest Protect. I imagine it will be using Bluetooth because it's not got my Wi-Fi yet. It now has updated to connecting. So some of the tools I think we'll need, it says just a screwdriver. I always use my drill. I've got it on the ratchet setting. Let's now come up with the Wi-Fi list. So select my home Wi-Fi. I already have the Wi-Fi password saved, so I don't have to type it in. Click next. It's now connecting to the Nest Protect. So it says setting up Wi-Fi, testing Wi-Fi, setting up Nest network. So I imagine that will be linking into the app. I am recording the screen as well, so I'll add that into the video. Now it says finishing. Taking a little bit of time. So
connected.
We now have the green ring. My home Wi-Fi is provided by BT. It's an Infinity package, but I actually use a old modem which goes into an Apple Airport Extreme. I think some of the reviews I've heard with some of the Nest compatibility issues, more so with the Nest Cap, are driven because customers use, say, the Smart Hub into a Airport Extreme. The issue with doing that though is because most of the BT routers I've come across, they don't have the ability to bridge like the Virgin routers do. So you end up with both devices trying to manage the network. What I've got, basically, it provides a internet connection and then the Airport Extreme does everything else. It's now said added your Nest Protect. Gives me a choice of adding another Nest product or just clicking next. It's asked whether I'd like a path light. Now a path light is when the ring around glows white, so it's like a night light, so you can see yourself or see where you're going. As this isn't in my bedroom and it's actually in the kitchen, I'm going to say yes, I would like the path light to come on. It says would I like to do a sound check, so let's give it a go. So Nest Protect constantly checks its sensors, power and Wi-Fi connection. Each month, second generation Nest Protect can also test its own voice and alarm. So it says midday between 11 and 4. So yeah, that's fine with me. And then it's given me some instructions on how to install the Nest Protect. So click done. That's now set up. I need to move the camera so that we are all connected, and you can see what I'm doing with putting in the electrics. So yeah, I'll move across. So I'm in my kitchen. I've got myself some steps so I'm up at the right height. I've gone up quite high so I'm not having to stretch and lean. I've got the old alarm up here. So first thing to notice is I've isolated the main supply to the fire alarms. I'm going to test it with an electrical screwdriver, which is you put your finger on the end. If that touches anything that's live, a little bulb lights up in the actual screwdriver itself. But the first check is that the green light, which showed that the old alarm had a main supply, has now turned off. So to take this off, everyone's will be slightly different. Mine, you have to push up a little bit and then you can then twist it once you've got that up. So that then comes apart. That's the old alarm. You can bin that, recycle it, but the battery inside is the one item to worry about. Put that down on the worktop. Now On here I've got 2 screws holding the old alarm up. You can use a normal screwdriver. I'm being a bit lazy just to be quick, but we'll unscrew the old faceplate. So that's one. And that's 2. So these are items that we won't need. And then if I grab my electrical screwdriver again, just making sure that you're not touching any of the metal bits, but we'll just try and pull this out to see what we have up here, and where the original cables are for the plug of where they're connected. So what we have here is the circuit, which is 3. It's a connected alarm. Now the Nest fire alarms are Wi-Fi connected, so you don't need the common cable, which is this orange cable, but we will need the brown and the blue, which is your live, which is the brown, and blue is your neutral. I'm just going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to undo this, which looks like an old-fashioned connector that they've wrapped up in insulating tape, because what I really want is the original parts, which are the original cables. Be back in a minute. So, disconnected. These are the old style connectors, just screw up. That goes with the old alarm and is the original piece. We then have the new cable, which looks like this. It's only got 2 cables, unlike the old one that had 3. That's because one of the cores is normally, it sends off, so if one alarm goes off, they all go off. Nest Protect uses Wi-Fi, so it doesn't need that. I'm using Wago connectors rather than the ones that are supplied, just because they're easier to change. You just pull the levers up and down. If I move in the next couple of years, I'd like to take all of this kit with me, which you can. Just the connectors that are supplied with Nest, they're a bit more difficult. You need to cut the cables. So these just slot in and little levers go down. That locks it in place. And then when you want to move it in the future, you just pull the levers back up. Just to give you a bit of a close-up, that's what they look like. So really simple to use and really safe. So up here we've now got, it's a loop circuit, so this obviously feeds more than one fire alarm because it's in parallel. So really simple, blue with blue. So let's put these other 2 go back in. Just be careful when you're using these sort of style adapters that you don't get confused and put the wrong one in the, put different colours in the same adapters. I've heard of people doing that, and yeah, that just means that you're connecting wires up and short-circuiting them, so each colour gets its own adapter. Just making sure that this one actually bites and grips the cable. It doesn't seem to be just at the moment, so just push it in a bit further. And that's now got a good hold, so you can notice these cables can take some weight and they're not coming back out. Same again on the brown. They're locked in, so that's all you need to do connection wise. They don't need insulated, unlike the old one, because there's no pins or screws that are exposed. But all I am going to do is just grab a little bit of insulating tape and just do the exposed cable that's left behind. It's not likely to do or have any current going through it, but it's more good practice just to leave an exposed cable not exposed. So just a bit of insulating tape. The old fire alarm is just down there, so that's obviously giving a warning to say that it's disconnected from electricity because I've not removed the battery yet, so that's what those 2 beeps were. So just need a small amount of tape. Just like that. And that's now safe. So we'll just push this back up into the ceiling void. So that's tucked away. And then we need to install the faceplate. So important to make sure you've got the faceplate the right way round, but it's fairly easy because there is a side that goes up to the ceiling with a no screw sign on it. The other thing that's worth thinking about is checking where you want the Nest logo to go on the ceiling, because that's a way of indicating whether you want the fire alarm square or off centre. Or the position of it. So I've already pre-checked where I want this to go up onto the ceiling. So we want that just in the centre. Make sure you line up where the hole is in the ceiling so that it doesn't rub or hit anything. And in my case I'm quite lucky because the ceiling or the plasterboard is quite strong, so I don't need to worry about putting some raw plugs in before I screw in. You can use a normal drill. I'm just being lazy and using an electric drill. If you're not putting raw plugs in though, it's important to make sure you don't over tighten the screws because you'll just pull the plasterboard to pieces. Normally if I'm screwing things in I would adjust the drill to the ratchet. But as this is so soft, it doesn't need it. Grab that screw in a second. And that is it now in position. So we'll take the fire alarm. This is the easy part. So plug it in. Now it's easy to know which way it goes just because the clip will only fit one way. Lift that up to where we think we'll get a bite. And then twist it into place. Line it up so it fits and you'll feel it click. And that's it now installed. So just come back, I've turned on the electric or the breaker to the fire alarms, and I've got a tiny little green light at the bottom which now shows it is getting an electrical supply and that it's all working. I've double checked that because I've looked at the app as well and it now says that it has a power supply as well, so it's clever enough to say whether it's got power or not. All that's really left to do is just let it do a self-check. Two ways of doing that. You either press the home or the sort of button, I say home, but the Nest button on the actual fire alarm, and that in turn runs it through the cycle, asks you to press it once more to confirm it. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do the test using the app, just to make sure it's communicating with the Wi-Fi and that it's all working. So there's a little button at the bottom that says, bottom left, that says check up. So we press check up and it says, do you want to continue? We do. It then gives us a countdown, so 10, 9, 8, and goes all the way down to 0, at which point hopefully that will turn on and start doing its test.
Testing smoke. Testing carbon monoxide.
It's quite loud.
Just a moment.
Then it sort of self-checks the few other systems and that's it done. So thank you for watching, hope it was helpful. If you've got any questions at all, post a comment or a note on there and I'll try and help. I will do a full review in the next week or two once I've had a chance to see how other system works, looking at how it works with the LifeX bulbs or Philips Hue bulbs and sort of that smart integration, as well as being able to control the boiler if it detects carbon monoxide or smoke. And of course, please click the subscribe button. I will be reviewing other products over the next couple of months.